reading something on Geek and Sundry, and it was like, I think I had posted it on our Facebook page. It was like a New Year's board gaming New Year's resolutions, and it was something like play play like play 100 board games. Play 100 games. Play like 20 different games, and I'm like, some of these I might actually be able to hit this year. Like, I mean, 100 games might, that I could probably do if it's a certain games, but
Yeah.
playing 20 different games, that might be a little hard to do. But I mean, I've already got Ticket to Ride. I mean, I consider new being new to my family or introducing them to new people. So, Ticket to Ride, I've gotten out there, Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters, Legendary Dark City. Like, we've got Catan Jr. that I want to do, Screaming Eagles, Dixit, which I think is how you pronounce that. It's D
That's how I
I
pronounce it. Close
yeah
enough.
Dixit, Dixit. So I mean, I've got a lot of games, so it's like, well, I might be able to hit 20 different games this year. That'd be kind of cool. I still want to
Yeah.
go find Sushi Go.
Sushi Go is a fun game.
Yeah,
I played it a couple times last year, I think.
yeah,
Last year, Board Game Geek had a thing saying your New Year's resolution or the challenge was to take 10 board games and play them 10 times during the year. So that's
yeah,
100 plays. I looked at that and went, yeah, that would be awesome if I could actually play,
yeah,
let
yeah. That
alone even get 100 plays in, but get it 10 for 10 like that would have been
right. Well, and that
cool.
was one of the other resolutions was how like playing a game, like playing one game like 20 times so that you can, you know, you really get the um, nuances of one game. If you play 20 different games, you only get the broad strokes. When you start playing a game over and over again, you find the little parts of it that make it a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
but all right, enough about that.
Yeah, let
Let's.
me let me fill up my water glass and I'll
Yep,
be ready.
you're good.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try not to cough through this whole thing. I got a stupid cough.
Yeah, so does Holly.
All right, we're gonna go here in. Well, actually, give me a check. Make sure the volume's good here.
Check, check, check. One, two, three.
Perfect. All right. Oh, I guess I started the recording too. All right, here we go. We're gonna start in three, two, one. Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 161, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph, that man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
I'm gonna apologize now for my raspy voice. It comes in and out, and I've got some sort of cold or allergies or something, so hopefully I don't sound too terrible. Maybe I just have a deeper, more radio sounding voice. I don't know.
That's right.
I
That's
think I,
all.
s- I think I sound like a munchkin most of the time. But nobody likes the sound of their own voice, so.
No. Unless you're like, Bono or something, then you like everything about yourself.
Right. Right. So, this last week, a couple of things I want to throw out there. Want to mention the Podcast Arcade. Make sure you guys are going and checking out all the other shows on the Podcast Arcade. And we've added a new show. Oh, crap, and I forgot the name of it already.
Come on, you can do it.
Sound Something Alley.
Soundtrack Alley.
Soundtrack Alley, that's what it is. It's all about music in film. They've got in the last episode that we actually shared on our Facebook page, kind of a shout out to them, was about the Last Starfighter, right?
Yeah.
So go check it out. Go check everybody out at the Podcast Arcade. You can find them easiest on Facebook, facebook.com/the podcast arcade, or you can go to the website, which is thepodcastarcade.com. Yeah.
Yes.
You can also, this is going to be the last week of voting for the new game for Geekvice Gaming. You can find that in the description here. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it in the show notes on iTunes and whatnots. Or you can go over to facebook.com/geekvice, and it is in the posts there. You can go vote. There's 4 options up there. There's Commandos Beyond the Call of Duty, Dungeon Siege 1, XCOM 2, and another episode or another game of Civilization 6. So go check those out. Go pick which one you want there, and we are going to get that started in a couple weeks. So I will start recording them, and we'll start putting them up probably in early February. So
Sweet.
So yeah, we'll have 2 days a week of Geekvice gaming, and 2 days a week of Geekvice, and then the Podcast Arcade has got tons of other stuff to fill in the other times. So go enjoy everything that is Geekvice.
Everything.
Everything.
Whatever
So, Mr. Kip,
Yo.
what have you been up to?
Well, I am ashamed to say that I have done practically nothing but watch TV. But did manage to get out of the house yesterday and see the newest offering by Vin Diesel, Triple X, what was it called? The Return of Xander Cage or something like that.
The final episode of the Triple X trilogy, which who thought that was actually going to be a trilogy when the first one came out?
Well, it was like, Fast and the Furious. Who the hell would have guessed there's going to be 8 of those bad boys?
Well,
but
yeah, that is true. That is true. So, how was the Return of Xander Cage?
Well, if you have the ability to turn off your brain, suspend disbelief, you would really enjoy this movie.
That good, huh?
It's basically an adrenaline thrill ride for the whole movie. Basically, it's good-looking women, fantastic stunts, and stuff just blowing up and people getting shot and things like that. So, it was fun. I had a good time watching it. I was entertained. Some of the lines in the movie were cringeworthy. I started having visions of looking at the script and it was written in crayon. But other than that, I mean, like I said, you've just got to be able to turn your brain off and just have no connection with reality while you're watching this movie. I mean, for crying out loud, he was like on top of a cell tower. and he puts on a pair of snow skis, jumps off the cell tower, and skis down the side of a mountain in a third world tropical country.
Why not?
So sure, of course, since you're on skis and you're on a slope, when you fall 150 feet and you hit the ground because of the skis and the slope, it doesn't hurt you. You just keep going, you know.
Right.
But like I said, you got to suspend the disbelief. But the action sequences were great. Vin Diesel, I always like him. He just chews up scenery. He doesn't even really have to say anything, and you can just, kind
Yeah.
of, He's like one of those people that I think if you had your back to the door and he walked in the room, you'd know he was there. That kind of presence. But Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Ice Cube, Vin Diesel. So there's some big hitters. They
The
they they like to play the diversity card pretty hard, which I appreciate. So it's not just all white guys. There's women. There's
right.
Asians. There's Samuel L. Jackson, who transcends all racism, and it's just fantastic. Uh, if you like people getting shot, people getting punched by motorcycles, yes, that happened. Um, Somebody driving a motorcycle underwater, yes, that happens. If you enjoy that kind of thing, this is the movie for you. Uh, we went on Saturday at 12:30 in the afternoon, and it's a big theater, and I'd say there was probably only 10, 15 of us in the theater.
Wow.
So I'm not expecting this to do humongous box office, but it was fun. I mean, it was worth the price of admission. I'll admit it. Um, if you saw the last Independence Day movie, it's along those lines.
Okay.
Flimsy writing, um, maybe a story that was very straightforward, but they took a very windy path to get there. It's that kind of a movie. It's like,
Right.
okay, he needs to find this guy. Oh, he found this guy, like in 5 minutes. But let's let's have him have a five-way with all these supermodels, and then let's have him um, show up to this rave, and all the women swoon over him, and then we'll just have this big fight sequence where he ends up on a motorbike, and he actually punches people with the motorbike's tires, and then all of a sudden they're driving around, and this is all happening at night at a rave, and then when they take off driving, now the sun's out. I don't know how this happened. Maybe the motorcycle punched the sun up into the sky. I'm not sure. And then they end up pushing a button, and these skis come down, and they actually start driving these motorbikes across the water. And then there's the big surfing waves hit, and he has to go under one, and so he's driving the motorcycle under the water. And of course, the intake doesn't take any of that water in and kill the motor. No, that doesn't happen. It just keeps going. So,
I don't. Yeah. I that and it's kind of funny that so we mentioned the podcast arcade. Billy and his group, Billy and Ben and Andrew with the Underground Inc. actually watched the first Triple X for their one of their more recent podcasts, and I can't remember which one of them hadn't seen it before, and so it was actually really kind of funny because I think it was Andrew. I don't have their voices memorized, and since it's just a podcast, you have to kind of. It takes a little while to remember who's who when you're just listening to them. But like I think it was Andrew had seen it so many times, like he knew the scenes that were coming up. He was just like, "Oh yeah, now this is gonna happen, and it's like sure enough, you hear it happening in the background. Like, oh, that is funny. Like, I mean, and it's the same kind of stuff. It's just so comical with the way they do it. This is a movie that I'll probably end up seeing. I won't see it in the theater because I mean I don't go to the theater. So, um, but this is definitely one that I'll end up turning on more so than even the Fast and the Furious. I enjoy watching these just crazy over the top action movies. So, um,
Yeah, the only thing that was missing, in my opinion, is when he was underwater on the motorcycle, he didn't get the opportunity to punch a shark in the face or anything like that. That would have been perfect. But maybe that's too Sci-Fi Channel. I don't know.
yeah,
But
he
yeah,
might have been jumping the shark at that point.
yeah. Honestly, the movie ended, and I looked at my wife, and she goes, "I really liked it. I thought it was fun." I was like, "That was the dumbest movie, but I liked it."
But I like it.
Yeah, it's people are going to watch this movie and go, "Oh my god, this is so dumb," and they would not be wrong.
Right.
But it's also a good time. There's no other way to put it. It's just fun. It's you don't watch this movie thinking I'm going to see Oscar-worthy performances or anything like that. You
Mm,
watch this because you're seeing a few women. You're like, man, I hope she takes her top off, and then you're going to see some action scenes where you're like, man, I hope this guy gets killed. That kind of thing. So,
right. Right. Yeah. It is. That is a movie for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
it checked all the boxes for me. There was good looking women, there was explosions, there was stunts. You know,
Yeah.
so we got it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, we here at the hacienda did not go see a movie, but we did get out of the house today. We decided to have a Sunday Funday. So over the Christmas holiday, my oldest one, Reese, was sick, so we weren't able to really go do anything. We were kind of stuck at the house. He didn't feel real good and didn't want to make him worse. So we kind of stuck at the house, didn't really do a whole lot. So this weekend we decided to try to make up for it. So after his soccer game this morning, we went to Fritz's down at Crown Center, which is an awesome restaurant. Especially if you have kids. If you don't have kids and you just like trains, it's good food. You like old '50s diner type food because
Oh yeah.
it's really just burgers. But damn, those burgers are good. Um, we had the my wife and I always get the gin dare. She gets the single. I get the double, and it's served with fried onions and hash browns on your burger.
Oh.
So good, so good. Um, but went there, and the cool thing about Fritz's, and I think I've talked about this on the show before, but Fritz's, you order your food from a telephone at your little table, kind of like a car hop type phone. Pick it up, push a button, they answer, you tell them what you want. A waiter or waitress will bring out your drinks, and then all along the ceiling are train tracks, and they actually put the food on a tray underneath the train, and this train goes flying down and delivers your food for you.
A
So,
train comes flying down.
well, comes driving on the track. Yeah,
Okay.
comes flying down. I'm I'm playing with a plane, so that's where that came from. But
Uh-huh.
the the trains will come driving by and they drop your food off, and it comes down on a little hydraulic system, and you get to take the basket of all your food, and the hydraulics go back up. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun, and the kids love it. Hell, I love just sitting there and just watching these trains come by, and then watching them drop people's food off. So,
Sounds like
um,
a good time.
yeah, it's good food, good times. Well, after that, we decided we're going to Legoland. So we went to Legoland today. And if you've never been to Legoland, it is a lot of fun if you like Legos. if you don't like Legos, don't go. But that the name should just about fix
Yeah.
that
If
problem.
if you if you go to Legoland and you're like, oh, this is just Legos, then you probably have bigger problems than we can talk about.
Exactly. For those of you in the Kansas City area who had looked into going to Legoland years ago when they first opened and looked at the price of getting in and said, "Oh, I am never going here for that price." You should check it out now because the prices are a lot better. They're more reasonable prices. Now, I will say, Kip, you and your lovely wife will not be able to go because you have to no adults are allowed unless they're accompanied by a child.
Wow.
So that's really cool. They do have special nights that are adults only, but I think to kind of keep the creep factor out of the atmosphere, you have to have kids. So
That's too bad because I like going to places where there's a bunch of children and just being the weirdo. So that kind of ruins it for me.
well, maybe actually Holly could get in. I mean, she could probably classify you as a kid. I mean, I don't think there's an age limit to the kid classification.
Well, if it's like you have to be less than this tall to get
Uh,
in, then we'd be okay.
yeah, because you could just count Holly as that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
but yeah, it's really cool. The setup is really neat. I like they have a lot of different things to do. The first room you get into is a look like they have a whole area where they have graph paper set up to where you can kind of draw out something that you want to build, and then the next room you can take that over and actually build something. My one complaint with that room today was there was nobody in there, no workers in there to kind of explain what exactly you're supposed to be doing. They had a video thing going, but maybe I'm just too old and analytical, or maybe it's my engineering background. But I looked at the paper that you're supposed to draw this out on, and it's just graph paper. Like, I mean, the blocks weren't square; they were rectangular, but it's still graph paper.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it going, the video says that these represent a specific block, but all the boxes are the same. So what block do they represent? Are we building the everything out of the exact same size block, or is this a one peg thing? Is this a two peg thing? Like, maybe I was thinking too much about it, but
Sounds like you were. Yeah.
I mean, it's designed for kids, not adults, so I can see that being a problem. Um, but anyway, we kind of flew past that and got into an area where there was a lot of stuff already made. Um, they had basically made the different parts of Kansas City, and it is awesome. They have Arrowhead Stadium, they have Kauffman Stadium, they had Children's Mercy Park, and they even in each of these sports ones they had, they actually had figures in there. Like in Arrowhead, they had players lined up like they were actually running a play. So it was really kind of cool to see. They had the racetrack, they had the speedway there, and they actually had three. I think it was three cars that were actually electrified, and you could actually push a button and race them around the track, which was kind of cool. Um,
Nice.
they had Union Station and the World War I Memorial and Liberty Memorial, and um,
Did they have the
this,
crappy artwork on top of Bartle Hall?
I did not see that. I don't think they did. I'm not sure they had Bartle Hall.
No.
Um, but
Okay.
I mean, they did have Sprint Center, and they did have the Western Auto Building, the big Western Auto sign, and
Yeah.
um, they they had some of the stuff that you looked at and you're like, oh, I know that, and it was really kind of cool. They even had the lights set to a timer, so it would actually give you like a day-night cycle. So it would, while we were in there, like looking at some of the stuff, it started to get dark, and we're like, well, this is weird, and not like pitch black, but just kind of dark enough that they did fireworks going off above the above Sporting Park, and they did fireworks above Kauffman Stadium, like the firework displays that those guys will do. Um, I think it was really kind of cool. Like the way they worked that all out was really neat. Um, then a little bit farther into it, um, they had Wizard of Oz. They had the castle from the Wizard of Oz, and you could actually hit a button, and it would make the Wicked Witch start screaming and I'm melting, and then you'd watch the character just kind of smush up. Like that was really cool. They had the Emerald City, and they had the Munchkins Land area
With the yellow brick road and
with
all that.
with the yellow brick road, and they had the Dorothy's house in Kansas, and the one in that house had a button that you pushed, and it would actually start spinning the house, and then it would actually raise up on a little pedestal like it was floating away.
That's
Like
cool.
that was, I mean, they went through a lot of work in that, and I was like, that would be really cool. Like I mean, some of that stuff, seeing that, we probably spent a lot more time in that area than I anticipated, but that's just because I think that stuff's cool. I love seeing the stuff that people can build and looking at how they built it. Um, it was something that I wish they had a class there that you could actually. I would love to learn from a Lego master builder. One of these guys that is paid to create the Legos and the Lego sets and how they come up with that, and then how they come up with how to build them to make it work. You know what I mean? I just think that's cool. So
That is cool.
the other stuff that they had, I mean, that was just a small part of it. I was a little worried that that was going to be all of what Legoland was just looking at that, but no. You get past that area, you get into all kinds of interactive stuff. They have a ride where yes, they have a ride. It's just a little track that goes around, but you're given a little Lego laser gun, and you're shooting targets as you're going through this thing, counting up points, competing against the other people in your little car. Like that was a lot of fun. They had like a play place, like what you would have at McDonald's or something like that, which there were quite a few kids at. But then they had a ton of just stuff where you could go build stuff. They had a racetrack where you could go build your own car, and and then race it, and you could had an area to cause it to go off a ramp and do stunts and things like that. It was really cool. Had an area that had creative, like just little square flat tiles, and then you could actually go make artwork and put it up on the wall. They had a Lego wall that you could just go take these panels and just push them right up to them, and leave your artwork on the wall at least for the day. I don't know how long that stuff stays there. I'd hate to be the person that has to go back and take all the little one brick pieces off of these things, um, but
Yeah. That'd
yeah,
be like picking up the trash after a football game or something.
exactly. They had giant foam Legos, or they're a little harder than foam, but they were a little bit larger than like a actual brick, and an actual brick like like cement brick, like a brick and mortar type brick.
Wow.
And so they were big, and you could um, just kind of Reese and a couple other kids ended up like building like a big, almost like a wall. It was like they were trying to build a house, but they built it up high enough. I mean, Reese is 4 feet tall, and it was up to his shoulders, so it was pretty big, pretty tall.
Nice.
And the other thing that they had there, which I had never experienced before, was a 4D movie. Have you ever been to a 4D movie?
No, I have not.
So it's like a 3D movie, but with an extra D.
Don't get choked up. Yep.
I
He's
almost, I almost got the cough switch there, but so the 4D movie, you're given 3D glasses. Let me get a drink before I continue the story.
this 4D stuff is, just choking him up. It's terrible.
It is. It's killing me here. So you're given 3D glasses. You go in, you watch this movie in 3D, but then the 4D aspect of it is they have giant fans in there that'll blow air on you. So like one of the scenes was um, some Lego characters like riding in this car, and they're just like flying down this track, and so the fans are just blowing on you like it's the wind in like you're actually there. The wind is blowing on you. Fucking hell! What is my phone doing? Blowing up. Tell the podcast arcade guys that we're trying to record here. The but then they also have. There was a part where it started raining in the show, in the movie, and so then there was like light mist in the air inside the theater. Um, the movie was only about 10-15 minutes long. If it would have been any longer than that, I probably would have gotten a little pissed off because the mist, the mist is a little annoying. There was one part where it was like snowing, and so they had like soap bubble snow that was floating around in the theater. I'm like, okay, it's neat for a short period of time, but then but it starts to get on your nerves after a while. You're like, I don't want to be wet. If I wanted to be wet, I would have gone somewhere to get wet, not go see a movie. Um, the last part of it was so the whole story was about these Nexo Knights, and which is one of their Lego line, and one of the bad guys is this book. It's like an evil book that is trying to find other books with plans in it to build things, and if this eats the books, then it can spew out more bad monsters that can take over, and the Nexo Knights have to stop it. Well, at one point, um, the book like ends up like scarfing down this other book, and then like burps, and so it's like a large, long, comical burp, except then it sprays water on you. And even my 4-year-old calmly looks at me and goes, "That's disgusting," because it actually kind of felt like the guy burping was spitting all over you.
Oh man, that's so wrong.
I was like, "Oh, I like what you did there. I wish it wasn't on me." Like, go spew on somebody else. But it was interesting. I don't know that I would ever pay to go to a 4D movie if if that's the way it was really going to work. I've heard of 4D movies before, but I thought they were more like the chair moved around and kind of shook and vibrated when things happen type of a feel. I didn't realize that there was going to be water being sprayed everywhere and soap bubbles in the air. But overall, it wasn't too bad. Kind of a cool idea. The um, Then, of course, in order to leave the Legoland, you have to go through the Lego store,
No way, they wouldn't do that.
which we had already planned. Like, that was part of the reason why I wanted to go to Legoland. I wanted to go to the Lego store. I wanted to see what kind of stuff they had up there. And man, that is just fun walking through the Lego store. That is, I mean, I could have spent another. We spent 2.5 hours at Legoland. I could have probably spent another hour in just walking, just looking at all the stuff in the Lego store, looking
Did
at
you
all
buy
the.
anything though?
Oh yes, yes we did. We brought Christmas money from the kids that the kids had gotten over Christmas, and the kids got some stuff. Reese got a Star Wars set, which is one of Anakin's starfighter things, and then he also got a Marvel Civil War set. I'm trying to remember. That one had Falcon, Black Widow, and Crossbones, I think, are the three people in that one. He already has several of those Marvel Civil War sets, so this was one that um, he could still afford to get and he didn't have. And then Conley got some more Nexo Knight characters. He really likes those. He likes the minifigures and the Nexo Knights. That's pretty much what they are. It's a minifigure with a lot of gadgets attached to them, weaponry, shields, that kind of stuff. So, and apparently there's a web app that you can get for the Nexo Knights, which they'd have to. I don't have a tablet with a camera on it. That's what they recommend to get. So I'll have to
Uh,
maybe get one of those at some point and put that on there. But oh yeah, we spent money at the Lego store. I found I tried to get the Helicarrier Lego set, which is um, just under 3,000 pieces and is $350. I got shot down. That was a no go.
I can't imagine why.
But it was kind of funny because as we were walking around the store some more, Amber saw the um, the firehouse from Ghostbusters, which is like 4,500 pieces, and it's $350. And she's like, "Oh, look at that!" And I looked at her. I'm like, "Did you see the price tag on that one?" She's like, "Oh man!" Like I think she really wanted to get it until she saw that it was the same price as the helicarrier. Like now, it's a little bit better of a deal, I guess, for 4,500 pieces than it is for 3,000. But
Yeah. It's, I really like, the Lego sets and everything like that. But it's crazy how expensive that stuff was. We do a charity at my office where we have a family we buy gifts for, and the kids kind of give you a list of what they would really like, and Star Wars Legos was on that list. It's
oh
like, oh,
yeah,
I'll get some Star Wars Legos. That's no big deal. Everything cool was over $100.
yep,
Everything cool was is like, oh my god. So they got a couple of small sets that still weren't cheap.
right.
Probably only took them like 5 minutes to put together, but still,
It's
I
still
was,
something.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look at that. That's cool. An X-wing. Oh,
And the Star
149.
Wars, yeah, the Star Wars ones are the worst because the I think the licensing for Star Wars is just ridiculously expensive. But the Marvel ones aren't too bad. There's actually quite a few of those that are in the $20 to $50 range.
Yeah, that's not
That
bad.
yeah, that are pretty cool. The the first one Conley picked out. So I had talked about in an episode last month, right after Christmas. I had talked about the train set that Conley got for Christmas. Big electric train set. Well, there's another one that he doesn't have that's kind of like this, except it's a bullet train. And he wanted that. And I told him, you didn't get enough money at Christmas to get that one. Sorry, buddy. So
You better invest better the next time.
yeah, exactly. You better convince those grandparents of yours to give you more money for Christmas because that wasn't enough to cover that. So, but it's just so cool. I was the one thing I was disappointed in Legoland was, or in the Lego store, was they did not have the Taj Mahal. I wanted to see the box for the Taj Mahal.
Oh yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't enjoy Legos as much as the two of us do, the Taj Mahal is the largest block number size or block count. That's the largest set that Lego sells. So it has just under 6,000 pieces, and um, I want to see what this looks like. Like, I want to see how big of a box is 6,000 pieces. Like, that's a very large Taj Mahal. I've seen it built before, but I've never actually seen it in a store. So it's like I kind of want to see what it, and I want to know how much it costs. Like, how much are you going to sell that for in a store like that? They can't have a whole lot of them, I'm sure, because there can't be that many people that are going to buy the Taj Mahal. But
No, it's got to be, well, somebody with a ton of money and probably buy it for the kids and then pay somebody to put it together for them. But
yeah, yeah, it's cool stuff. I enjoy Legos. I enjoy. Of course, we had to put some of the Lego sets. Reese was only able to get one Lego set put together when we got home. By the time we got home and got all the stuff out, and he was slow in putting it together because we were watching football while he was trying to put it together, so he kept getting distracted by the football game. Um, watch the stupid Patriots. I hate that team. I hate that team.
yeah, I think a lot of people suffered because they didn't want the Patriots to win, but then again, they didn't want the Steelers to win. So
Yeah.
it was tough for a lot of people.
Well, and I was really kind of, I wouldn't have minded Green Bay winning, but they didn't. So, I mean, Atlanta, at least they don't have a whole bunch of Super Bowls, so I don't think they have any actually. I think they've only been to one, and I don't think
Yeah,
they've.
they've only been to one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they didn't win that one, so they've got no Super Bowl titles. So I'm rooting for the Falcons.
You know what? I came to the same conclusion. It's like they've never won it. It's weird to even say Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl in the same sentence. So I'm rooting for them. We'll
Yeah,
see how they do.
yeah, I'd like for it. So, well, I think that is probably enough for tonight.
Wow, all we talked about was a crappy Triple
Legos,
X movie and Legos. So that's
yeah.
pretty.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff there, but we'll give a little shout out because otherwise I feel like we would rush through this game. Next week we are going to talk about why I have this plane in my hand
Yes.
because this is an awesome game that that Kip has played as a child. I played this as a child. It came out in 1987. It is called Screaming Eagles, and it is a dog fighting game. Dog fighting is in planes, not
Yeah.
dog fighting is in like Michael Vick.
I can't say I played it as a child, but
Well, yeah,
I did play when it first came out.
okay. Well, 80, yeah. So 87. I was a child.
Yeah, I
I,
was
I,
20.
this game was given to me by one of my aunts. Her, my on my mom's side of the family, my mom and dad's both sides, but my mom's side has a lot of Air Force people in it, and I enjoyed listening to their stories of from some of the fighter pilots over there, and so this was one of the games I got for Christmas one year or my birthday or something like that, and it's a ton of fun, a whole lot of fun, and we will talk a lot more about it next week. I haven't got to play it in a long time, so I'm hoping this week I'll actually get a playthrough of it and jog my memory a little bit on how it's all played. So look forward to that
Right.
next week. And I think if you guys like this idea, I think what we might do is we might actually maybe once a month or so get a board game out and break it down a little bit more. Kind of talk about some of the things we like about it. I know we did that last month where we talked about um, ghost fighting treasure hunters, and Kip talked about police precinct. So um, we'll start having some more board game discussions. Kip's got a whole closet full of board games. I'm sure he wouldn't mind going through and playing through once, and then talking about it on the show. So
Absolutely. It would be good to actually break down a game because a lot of times we just kind of go surface only and say whether
yeah,
we like it, and it'd be actually good to kind of get into the weeds a little bit.
right, right. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. So look for that in future episodes. We want to do. I want to do more board game stuff on here because I like board games.
Yes, and if you don't like board games, then you have a problem.
Exactly. If you don't
I'll
like board
just say,
games, you just haven't found the right board games.
yeah, or you haven't
It
been playing with the right people.
right, right. Find well, and this is kind of the same thing. I ran into this problem with my wife. Is I told her that I wanted to play more of these board games, and she's like, but they're just board games. Like, why? And then I got her playing. Well, we got Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters, and she started playing that. She's like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. And it's not just moving pieces around a circle, playing Sorry or Trouble, which is what, when you say board games to her, she immediately goes to Sorry and Trouble and Shoots and Ladders and some of those games that,
Monopoly and
yeah, you can only play for so long and they just get boring. Then I played Ticket to Ride with her, and she's just like, what? This is actually a lot of fun. Like, yeah, see? And the board games don't have to. Her other fear is they're games like Risk or Monopoly that take 17 hours to set up and play and finish. And there aren't games like that. These games don't have to take that long. Screaming Eagles here is a 30-minute game. So, not long at all. Lots of fun. Different stuff.
absolutely.
So, stay tuned here for more board game stuff. We're going to have more stuff in the future. Anything else you want to throw out there, Kip?
No, I am. Like I said, I just haven't done enough geeky stuff. I need to get out more and do some things.
We are.
My New Year's resolution is to play more board games, and I've played one so far in 2017.
Well, you're only a month in. I mean, I guess if you play more board games, I mean, and you keep going at this rate, you'll get 12 by the end of the
12.
year.
Woo! 12.
We will fix this. We will fix this, Kip. We will
I hope
fix
so.
this.
That's why I'm putting it out there. People got to force me to do these things.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody reach out to Kip. Tell him that you're going to tabletops. Make him show up and play games with you. So
That's right. Oh, by the way, I'll be in Omaha, so podcast arcade guys, we could play a game.
there you go. He's gonna be around. You're up there for like a week, aren't you?
I leave tomorrow and I come back on Thursday.
There you go. There you go. So anyone who's listening to this that's in the Omaha area, you can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. That man will get it, and you can get a little meetup with Kip, play some board games. You can also follow us on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/geekvice. And, of course, follow us on Twitter, that man over there, at Kip Killigan. You can follow me, at Geekvice. Go hit up our YouTube channel. Easiest way to get there is tiny.cc/geekvice. You can also get there through our Facebook page. There's a little link on the left-hand side that says YouTube. Click on that. Shows all our videos. You can even subscribe right there, too. You don't even have to go to YouTube to do it. And, yeah, and we already threw out the email address. So, thanks, everybody, for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next week.
See ya!
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.